Good morning, dear students. Myself Yogesh Kanade, lecturer at Institute of Pharmacy, Devpur, Dhule. In previous lecture, we have started with one of the most important topic, Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 and rules thereunder 1945. In previous lecture, we have completed up to schedules to the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940. From today onwards, we are going to see the schedules related with Drugs and Cosmetics Rules 1945. There are total 27 schedules which has been prescribed or described under Drugs and Cosmetics Rules 1945. Let us discuss the schedules one by one. The first schedule which is given, that is your Schedule A. In Schedule A, it says about list of forms used for making applications, for issuing licenses, forms which are used for renewal of licenses, form which is used for sending memorandum, etc. What do you mean by forms? Now always remember, let us see some of the examples, general examples. Whenever you go to a hospital for treatment of certain disease or disorder, or you have been admitted in an hospital in an IPD, a hospital department will give you a form that you have to fill up, that is a standard form of that hospital, which is to be filled by every patient before he has been admitted in an hospital. In the same way, whenever you take an admission in an institute, you have to fill a admission form, and that is the standard form of that institute which is applicable for every student. In the same way, your DNC Act, it is a central act. Central act means it has been passed by the central government, and rules and regulation should be uniformly implemented throughout India, that is within the territories of India. Therefore, for every purpose, the form to be used, it should be uniform and it should be standard. Which forms are to be used for different purposes? That form numbers along with their description is given in your Schedule A. Therefore, it is said that list of forms used for making application. For example, in future, if you have to start a retail license for a retail business, you have to make an application to the FDA office, correct? When you are making an application to the FDA office, which form you will use? What should be the format of application? After making an application, the FDA office will issue a license. What specifications should be specified in that license? What should be the format of that license, etc. That formats are given in the form of form in your Schedule A. Forms used for making application for license, for issuing of licenses, for renewal of licenses, etc. That various form numbers are specified in your Schedule A. Here I have given you the example. Form A, memorandum to the CDL. CDL means Central Drugs Laboratory. Whenever the samples of drugs or cosmetics are sent to the Central Drug Laboratory for testing or analysis, along with that samples, a memorandum is to be sent. Memorandum means what tests are to be carried out on the samples which are sent by the custom collectors or by the courts or any person who is desiring to carry out the testing or analysis of the required medicines. The information about that samples is given in form 1, that is known as memorandum. Form 2, after completing the testing or analysis or in your required samples sent by your custom collectors or by court, A certificate of that testing or analysis will be provided by Central Drug Laboratory in the format which is given in Form 2. CDL टेस्टिंग आणि ॲनालिसिस झाल्यानंतर जे सर्टिफिकेट प्रोव्हाइड करणार आहे ते सर्टिफिकेट कोणत्या फॉर्ममध्ये प्रोव्हाइड करेल, कोणता फॉर्मॅट यूज करेल त्याच्यासाठी, Form 2 is going to be used. Now see the next example, third one, Form 8A. Now I am willing to do the import of drugs. मला दुसऱ्या देशातनं काही ड्रग्स इंडियामध्ये इम्पोर्ट करायचे असतील तर सगळ्यात पहिले मला काय करावं लागेल, आय हॅव टू मेक अ ॲप्लिकेशन. मग त्या ॲप्लिकेशनसाठी काय करेल मी, आय एम गोइंग टू यूज Form 8A if it is the drug which is specified in your Schedule X. If the drug is not specified in Schedule X, then I will use Form 8. After receiving the application by the licensing authority, if all the requirements has been fulfilled, then the license will be issued by the licensing authority for import of drugs specified in Schedule X in Form 10A. That is license to import drug specified in your Schedule X. If it is other than Schedule X, then the license will be issued in Form 10. That is your Schedule A, that is first one. Next, that is Schedule B. Now whenever you have been admitted in an hospital or in an institute, you have taken the admission, after you have paid the prescribed, means after fulfilling the admission form, what is the next step, you have to pay the fees. सगळ्यात सुरुवातीला काय होतं, आपण एखाद्या हॉस्पिटलमध्ये IPDला ज्यावेळेस ॲडमिट होतो त्यावेळेस सुरुवातीला आपण फॉर्म भरून देतो. फॉर्म भरून दिल्यानंतर नंतर काय करतो आपण, वी पे द प्रिस्क्राइब्ड फीज और डिपॉझिट इज गिवन इन द हॉस्पिटल. इन द सेम वे, whenever the samples are sent to the laboratories for testing or analysis, certain fees is to be paid to such laboratories. How much fees is to be paid? According to the test, it is given in your Schedule B. Schedule B specifies fees for test or analysis by central drug laboratories or by state drug laboratories. Whenever the sample is sent to the CDL or state laboratories, if a pyrogen testing is to be carried out, then 500 rupees to be paid. If dissolution test, 250 rupees. Sterility test, 100 rupees. And if it is a cosmetic samples for testing or analysis, the fees is variable from rupees 400 to rupees 1500. This is, we have studied related with your Schedule B, the fees which is to be paid for the samples sent for testing or analysis to the central drug laboratory or to the state laboratories. In the same way, there is Schedule B1 also. Now what is the difference between Schedule B and B1? In B1 also, a fees is to be paid to the pharmacopoeial laboratory for testing or analysis of sample sent by the drug inspectors, by the custom officers or by court. What is the major difference between both of them? आपण Schedule B मध्ये पण म्हणतोय की the fees is to be paid for testing or analysis. In the same way, in Schedule B1 also the fees is to be paid for testing or analysis. Now the difference is that if a sample is sent to the central drug laboratory or to the state laboratories, then the fees for testing or analysis will be paid as per Schedule B. And if the sample is sent for testing or analysis to the pharmacopoeial laboratory, for example pharmacopoeial laboratory Ghaziabad, then the fees for testing or analysis is to be paid as per Schedule B1. Test for sterility rupees 250, abnormal toxicity rupees 750, TLC, that is thin layer chromatography rupees 300. Disintegration test rupees 400. This fees is to be paid by a person who is sending the sample for testing or analysis to the pharmacopoeial laboratory. Next, that is Schedule C. Schedule C stands for biological and special products. Biological means the medicine is prepared from a living organism, that is known as Schedule C, that is biological and special products. Biological means it has been prepared from a living organism. For example, vaccines. Nowadays you have been seen that the vaccine of corona or COVID vaccine, it is prepared from the corona virus itself. Therefore, the word that is biological. For example, sera, vaccines, insulin, etc. But the route of administration is a parental route of administration. For example, antibiotics, vitamins, adrenaline and noradrenaline preparations, insulin, sera, etc. But in a form to be administered by parental route of administration. That is about your Schedule C. Examples, that is vaccines for parental injections, insulin, sterile disposable devices for single use only, that is specified in your Schedule C. Next comes that is Schedule C1. Schedule C1 is also related with other biological and special products. As in Schedule C, the list of biological products is given. In the same way, in Schedule C1 also, a list of biological products is given. Then what is the difference between both the schedules, Schedule C and C1? Schedule C, the products which is administered by parental route of administration, while Schedule C1 not in a form to be administered by parental route of administration. Means Schedule C products are administered in the form of injections, while Schedule C1 are administered in the form of liquids, tablets, capsules, etc. That is the difference between Schedule C and C1. Example, vaccine not in a form to be administered by parentally. In vitro blood grouping sera. In vitro blood grouping sera means in your first year you have performed one of the important practicals in your human anatomy and physiology, that is determination of blood group. In determination of blood group you have used three reagents. तुम्ही ब्लड ग्रुप ज्यावेळेस डिटरमाइन केले HAP लॅबमध्ये त्यावेळेस तुम्ही तीन केमिकल्स यूज केले होते. That three chemicals are your sera. In vitro means outside the body. In vitro means outside the body and in vivo असेल the inside the body. These blood grouping reagents come under the class of your Schedule C1. Hormones and preparations containing hormones not administered by parental route of administration. Again, vitamins and preparations containing vitamins not in a form to be administered parentally. Now always remember a single thing or a single difference between Schedule C and C1. Both of them having a biological source, but Schedule C it is administered by parental route, while Schedule C1 it is not administered by parental route of administration. Schedule C, example like your vaccines, insulin, etc. administered by parental route. Schedule C1, vaccines like BCG vaccine administered by oral route. It comes under your Schedule C1. Then next, that is your Schedule D. Schedule D specifies class of drug, extent and conditions of exemption for import of drugs. What is your Schedule D? Class of drug, extent and conditions of exemption for import of drugs. There are certain drugs which are specified in your Schedule D, and they are exempted from the conditions which are applicable for import of drugs. In chapter 3, we are going to see the rules and regulations related with import of drugs. The different conditions which are applicable when a drug is to be imported from other countries in India. But under your Schedule D, there are certain conditions, and under that conditions, if you are doing the import of drug, then the rules and regulations specified under chapter 3 are not applicable. For example, if you are importing spices like cardamom, cinnamon, etc., if you are importing it for a non-therapeutic purpose, then the conditions specified under chapter 3 are not applicable. If you are importing milk powder, then conditions specified under chapter 3 are not applicable. In short, I will say that if you are importing certain substances or certain drugs for non-therapeutic purposes, like for examination, test or analysis, for carrying out the synthesis of a new drug, etc., or for testing or analysis, then the conditions which has been specified in chapter 3 for import of drugs are not applicable. That various conditions and the classes of drug that is specified in your Schedule D. Then next one, that is Schedule E1. Now always remember that if in your examination Schedule E is asked, Schedule E, it was present in your Drugs and Cosmetics Rule 1940. Plain Schedule E, it was present up to 1982. Schedule E कधीपर्यंत होता? That is up to 1982. But in 1982, on 26th June, the amendment of DNC Act has been done by the central government. During that amendment, Schedule E was omitted from your Drugs and Cosmetics Rule 1945. Therefore, we are not going to do the study of your Schedule E, but accidentally, by mistake, in your examination, if your Schedule E is asked, just write down Schedule E is omitted from DNC Rules 1945 in the year 26 June 1982. Schedule E1. Previously I have talked about your Schedule E. Now here I have given you about your Schedule E1. Schedule E1 gives you the list of poisonous substances which can be used in the formulation or which has been specified in Ayurvedic, Siddha and Unani system of medicine. In Ayurvedic, Siddha and Unani system of medicine मध्ये which substance is to be called as a poison, that list is specified in your Schedule E1. For example, Zaifal seeds, Sarpavish, Afim, Dhatura seeds, Hira, that is your diamond, Sindur, etc. Sindur कशापासून तयार होते? It is prepared from your lead oxide. Therefore, it is a poison under your Ayurvedic, Siddha and Unani system of medicine. That is about your Schedule E1. Then next, that is your Schedule F. Schedule F, it is related with requirements for the functioning and operation of a blood bank and or for the preparation of blood components or requirements for manufacture of blood products. Schedule F मध्ये काय दिलंय? एखाद्या व्यक्तीला जर ब्लड बँक चालू करायची असेल तर ब्लड बँक चालू करण्यासाठी त्याचा बिल्डिंग एरिया काय लागेल, कोणते कोणते इन्स्ट्रुमेंट्स लागणार आहेत, जे त्या ब्लड बँकमध्ये काम करणार त्यांच्या क्वालिफिकेशन्स काय असतील, टेक्निकल स्टाफचे क्वालिफिकेशन काय असतील, फुल टाईम एम्प्लॉई जो असेल त्याच्या क्वालिफिकेशन्स काय लागतील, व्हॉट इज द प्रोसिजर ऑफ मेकिंग ॲप्लिकेशन, डिफरंट इन्स्ट्रुमेंट्स विच आर रिक्वायर्ड फॉर processing of blood, in which bag the blood is to be collected, at what temperature the blood bag will be stored, what is the procedure to be carried out for blood cab, जे आपण कॅप म्हणतो, ज्या ठिकाणी ब्लड कलेक्शन केलं जातं ऑन अ लार्जर स्केल, ते कॅम्प जर मला करायचे असतील तर व्हॉट इज द प्रोसिजर टू बी फॉलोड, ज्या व्यक्तीकडनं मी ब्लड कलेक्ट करणार आहे त्याचं वेट किती पाहिजे, हिमोग्लोबिन किती पाहिजे, etc. That is given in schedule F. Second was blood components. Nowadays, instead of using a whole blood, nowadays blood components are used. That is, the components which are present in your blood are separated, like platelets, RBC, WBC, hemoglobin, etc. They are separated in a blood bank, and according to the need of the patient, that components are supplied to them. For example, if a patient is requiring platelets, then only the platelet will be given. If the patient is requiring RBC, only the RBC will be given. That is also specified in your schedule F related with blood components. Next, that is manufacture of blood products. Example I will give related with your thrombin. Thrombin, it is an, we have studied in chemistry, thrombin, heparin, etc. That process of manufacturing of your blood products or coagulation. Hemorrhage का है? There are total 16 clotting factors which are present in a human being which are responsible for clotting of blood. If one of the clotting factor is absent, a person is going to suffer from hemorrhage, or there will be delay in clotting of blood. That clotting factors fall under the class of the manufacture of your blood products. Then what are the requirements, what is the process of manufacturing, what instruments are required, etc. That is specified in your schedule F related with blood bank, blood components and blood products. That was about your schedule F. If you want in detail, in library there is a forensic pharmacy book, Nirali Prakashan, B.S. Kuchekar. In that, just remove the part of your schedules. In that, a detail it is described about your schedule F. Then next comes, that is your schedule F1. Schedule F1, it is related with provisions applicable to the production of bacterial vaccines, viral vaccines, antisera obtained from living organisms or living animals, and manufacturing and standardization of diagnostic antigens. Schedule F मध्ये काय दिलंय? If you are preparing a vaccine from bacteria, vaccine which is prepared from viruses, antigens which are used in diagnostic procedures, if they are obtained from a living organism, then what rules and regulations to be followed, what are the requirements that are specified in your schedule F related with bacterial vaccines, viral vaccines obtained from living organisms, and standardization of your diagnostic antigens. That is your schedule F1. Then next, that is schedule F2. Schedule F2, that is Roman 2, standards for surgical dressings. Now in surgical dressings like absorbent cotton, cotton gauze, etc. that are specified. त्याच्याशी requirements काय आहेत? That is given in your schedule F2. Now in HCP practical, you have sinking time practical as well as war and weft practical, foreign material present in your cotton, etc. that you test in your HCP practicals. All these surgical dressings should comply with the standards given in your Indian Pharmacopoeia if it is prepared as per IP. If it is prepared as per British Pharmacopoeia, this surgical dressing should comply with the standards given in your British Pharmacopoeia. That standards for surgical dressings as per Indian Pharmacopoeia are specified in your Schedule F2. Schedule F3, that is standards for umbilical tapes. Now what is umbilical tapes? Nowadays, in ancient times or till today, what was the procedure? If a person is having a severe wound, then the doctor is to carry out the stitches of that wound with the help of a thread, that is your sutures or ligatures. But nowadays, instead of using that procedure, a single tape comes. That tape you have to paste on that wound, and a threads are given. You have to just tie that threads, and after 2 days, you will see that the wound, both the break parts will get attached with each and other. That is known as umbilical tapes. The advantage of using this technique is two advantages. First, it requires less time, and second, there are no marks of that stitches of wound. आपण जर रेग्युलरली जर स्टिचेस दिल्या तर स्टिचेस बऱ्या झाल्यानंतर ज्यावेळेस आपण त्या स्टिचेस रिमूव्ह करतो तर तिथे एक मार्किंग होते दॅट देर इज अ वूंड प्रेझेंट आणि ते स्टिचेस दिलेले आहेत. बट वेन यू आर युझिंग द अम्बिलिकल टेप्स, such stitches do not occur when the wound gets cured. त्याचं पर्पज काय, ते ज्यावेळेस तुम्ही टाइटनिंग करतात तर जे ब्रोकन टिश्यू पार्ट आहे ते जस्ट गेट कनेक्टेड विथ ईच अँड अदर. Such standards for umbilical tapes has been given in your schedule F3. Then schedule FF. Schedule FF stands for your ophthalmic preparations. Now ophthalmic preparations are of three kinds: ophthalmic solution, ophthalmic suspension and ophthalmic ointment. ऑप्थॅल्मिक प्रिपरेशनचे 3 प्रकार आहेत: ऑप्थॅल्मिक सोल्युशन, ऑप्थॅल्मिक सस्पेन्शन अँड ऑप्थॅल्मिक ऑइंटमेंट. The standards for all these preparations are been given in your schedule FF. What are the labeling requirements? Which preservatives is going to be used in the preparation of ophthalmic preparations? What should the manner of labeling? What essentials should be specified on the label, etc. That standards related with your ophthalmic preparations are specified in schedule FF. Then next comes that is your schedule G. Schedule G, in this list of drugs are given. This list of drugs are to be taken under the supervision of a registered medical practitioner only. The drugs which are specified in your schedule G, it should be taken by a patient under the supervision of registered medical practitioner only. For example, like chlorambucil, clebenclamide, tolbutamide, thiotepa, paramethadone, trimethadone. These are the drugs which are specified in your schedule G, which is to be taken by a patient under the supervision of registered medical practitioner. What is the reason why it should be taken under the supervision of RMP? Because it is dangerous to take except under RMP. If you have not taken these medicines under the supervision of a registered medical practitioner, it can be dangerous to the life of the patient. Such drugs which are to be taken under the supervision of RMP are specified in your schedule G. For example, chlorambucil, clebenclamide, trimethadone, trioxidone, tolbutamide, etc. Then next, that is Schedule H. In Schedule H also, list of drugs has been specified like amitriptyline, captopril, chlorpromazine, atenolol, haloperidol, dapsone, atenolol, etc. These drugs are to be sold by a retailer on the prescription of registered medical practitioner only. They are known as prescription drugs which are to be which are to be sold by a retailer, that is by a druggist and chemist, only on the prescription of registered medical practitioner. Without prescription of RMP, a retailer cannot sell the medicines which has been specified in your Schedule H1. That is prescription drugs which are required to be sold by retailer only on prescription of registered medical practitioner. Then next, that is your Schedule H1. Schedule H1 are also your prescription drugs like alprazolam, isoniazid, cefaxime, rifampicin, tramadol, chloral diazepoxide, etc. These are also known as prescription drugs which is to be sold by a retailer, that is by a druggist and chemist, or by a registered pharmacist only on the prescription of registered medical practitioner. A separate record is to be maintained by a retailer when supply of Schedule H or H1 medicines is carried out to a patient or to the customer. At home, if you are having certain old age peoples and if they are having certain diseases or disorder like diabetes, hypertension, etc., and the medicines which are consumed by such peoples, just see the label of that medicines. In a rectangular shape, you will see certain words, either Schedule H, Schedule H1, etc., that is specified, because these are the prescription drugs which is to be sold by a retailer on the prescription of registered medical practitioner. RMPच्या प्रिस्क्रिप्शन शिवाय आपण हे मेडिसिन सेल करू शकत नाही, आणि आपण ज्यावेळेस हे मेडिसिन सेल करतोय ॲट दॅट टाइम वी हॅव टू मेंटेन द रेकॉर्ड्स ऑफ सप्लाय ऑफ सच मेडिसिन्स. What record is to be given? Like name and address of the prescriber, name of the patient, name of the drug, quantity supplied, manufacturing, the batch number, manufacturing date, expiry date, etc. Such record is to be maintained by a retailer during supply of your Schedule H and H1 drugs. Always remember, these are the three important schedules which are repeatedly asked in your examinations: Schedule G, Schedule H and H1. Then next, that is your Schedule J. Schedule J stands for diseases and ailments which a drug may not claim to prevent or cure. Schedule J मध्ये काय दिलंय? They have specified certain list of diseases or disorders. Such diseases or disorder cannot be cured. For example, AIDS, blindness, deafness, diabetes, leukemia, that is blood cancer. You cannot prevent or cure such diseases. Therefore, not a manufacturer, importer, any person cannot claim that you take such and such medicines which will prevent you or which will cure diseases like AIDS, blindness, deafness, diabetes, leukemia, etc. Such list of diseases has been specified in your Schedule J. Then next, that is your Schedule K. Schedule K, it is similar one as like Schedule D. In Schedule D we have seen class of drug, extent and conditions of exemption for import of drug. In Schedule K, it is related with class of drug, extent and conditions of exemption for manufacture or sale of drugs. Schedule K मध्ये काय दिलं? It is related with manufacture and sale. Schedule D, it was related with import of drugs. Schedule K says that there are certain conditions which are specified, and within that conditions, if you are doing the manufacture or sale of drugs, then chapter 4 of DNC Act 1940 is not applicable, or the provisions, rules or regulations specified in chapter 4 of DNC Act 1940 is not applicable if it has been manufactured under the conditions, or if it has been sold under the conditions prescribed in your Schedule K. Then next, that is your Schedule L1, that is Roman 1. It stands for good laboratory practices and requirement of premises and equipment.